Hello and welcome to episode 9 of the Free Your Mind podcast. Now, if you listen to this regularly, then you'll probably see there's been a gap in this, which don't really have an excuse for, nor do I need to make one. But it's been busy, and it just hasn't made it to the top of my priorities until now. So it does feel good to be back. And hopefully you haven't missed my voice too much, if that's even a possibility, I'm not sure. But today I want to talk to you about how we're making things up. And I'm also curious to know how open you are to being wrong. Now, the ego may not like those words, but bear with me. Now, I'm going to go back, I don't know, it's probably a month or so, maybe further back, but I haven't told this story on here. Some people may have heard me talk about this, but essentially, we went to Alton Towers and for a few days. And my experience during COVID is that everything is half as good, but you have to pay the full amount. They never tell you all of the stuff that you can't do and all of the things that are shut until you've already booked. So you pay full price for half the amount and somehow you're supposed to be grateful for it. So Alton Towers was, the kids enjoyed it. That's the main thing. And after being locked down for so long and feeling like all my freedom was taken away, it was nice to do something. What followed, though, was a nice Norwegian log cabin overlooking a lake in Norfolk somewhere. I'd been looking forward to this. I'd been visualizing this in my head. I'd been looking at the pictures. I couldn't wait for this. It was like, I love nature. I love having coffee out on the balcony, looking over the lake. After a busy few days, that was what was needed. So we get there, we turn up, and then we pull up to our little cabin, and our view of the lake is in fact a view of a car park and a shop. And there's a geezer strimming, and there's a big JCB in the car park for some reason, and I am fucking fuming. So I go over and I'm like, this isn't, firstly, not what we paid for. Secondly, what the fuck, kind of thing. And they're all fully booked because everyone is doing the same thing. No one can fly. We had 2 holidays to Spain cancelled. I'm sure everyone else had a similar experience. So they're all fully booked. So tough shit, basically. And she's saying, well, it's all. I don't know if I'm really allowed to say the company, so I won't. It's all a company that you book through's fault. So taking zero responsibility or ownership of it. And so I've been imagining and visualizing and picturing and looking forward to this. Now my balcony is going to be looking over a field. Well, not a field. That would be nice. Looking over a patch of grass and a ton of cars in a car park with people coming out of like the restaurant-y pub thing and a fucking shop. And in the past, that would have ruined my entire life. I would have been angry, and I would not have been able to enjoy any of the 3 or 4 days that we were there. 4 days, I think we were there. That doesn't mean that I wasn't pissed off. I was. And I had to say to Jenna, look, I need to rant about this. I need to moan about this, and I'll be done. In about, 20 minutes, half hour, an hour. I don't know how long. It won't be that long. I'll then be okay. So I ranted. I was pissed off. I sent an email and stuff to because that's what was needed in the moment. And then I was like, right, okay, cool. I've got a choice now to let this be a shit couple of days that I've spent, a decent whack of money. It was about 500 quid, I think. So 500 quid to look over a lake. Oh, yeah, totally. 500 quid to look over a car park. Not so much. Probably could have stayed at home, And I just knew in this moment, because of the way the world looks to me right now, the old me would have gone with the first option without knowing. Without knowing I had a choice, it would have ruined it. I don't know what I would have done. Maybe we would have gone somewhere else. I'd have been a miserable bastard. because the thoughts that were ruminating in my head was, oh, well, this is nice, but how nice would it be if we had the lake? Oh, this is nice, but, well, now you can't have your coffee. Now you can't this. Now you can't that. Constantly comparing my actual experience of life with the imagined experience of what I believed or thought I was going to have, and how I assume and think and predict I would be feeling if only I had what I don't have. Sound familiar? Like, we do that in all areas of our life, where we compare our current reality with what we think would make us happier. I'm not happy right now, and it really is because I don't have this car, this house. You know, I've got 5 bedrooms, but I want 10, or I've got 1 bedroom and I want 2, or I've got this car which has got 500 brake horsepower, but if only I had one with 700, or I don't know. I don't know what your exact stories are. You know, this business is shit if I had one that was in e-commerce, or if my e-commerce business is shit because of all the customer complaints, if only I had one in recruitment. If I'm in recruitment and it's champagne and razor blades, it's up and down. If only I had a business that was just me, and then someone that's just themselves, like, if only I had staff. Like, we can always tell ourselves a story of how life could be better if only, and I'd be happier if, and this is okay, but, and well, this is shit compared to the thing that we're creating in our head. So I decided I needed to drop that and actually just enjoy the present moment and make peace with what I don't have. I made light of it with humour because that's what I do. So next minute, you know, Jenna's on the balcony thing, and the kids are there, and I'm pretending to swim through the invisible lake. You know, like, jump in kind of thing, and we had a good time. Now, that sounds great that I can do that, and someone might be thinking, yeah, but how? And it's not because I hacked my brain and I reframed it and I shouted at myself in the mirror and said, you can be positive, James, or any of that bullshit. I didn't meditate, and I'm not saying those things don't work, but yeah, they kind of don't work for me. What works better is the understanding that we are making this up. It's not really the lake that's the problem. It's my made up story around what I thought the lake would give me that I now don't have, of what I thought the company did or didn't do, or what that meant, or how much money this is worth compared to how much I've paid, or how much nicer it would be if only. It's all made up of our thinking. That doesn't make it necessarily go away, but it makes you go, oh, I am the creator of this movie. I am the creator, the screenwriter, the script writer for this film that I am creating. I am projecting onto my experience, and then I'm viewing it back as if it's real. I'm making this fucking up. And if I'm making this up, then why don't I make up something different? Why don't I make up a new reality? But the real insight here is when you realize that you are making it up. So the reason I use those examples is, do you know how many clients I've had that have told me that they'll be happy when? Once I've got $1 million in the bank in cash, then I will feel all of the things I want to feel. Yeah, I'm not going to, it'd be like, oh, I feel happy, then I'd feel calm, and then I could do this, and then I could have a day off, and then I'd take Fridays off, and then I'd feel like I can relax a bit. And they get to that point, and I hate to say I told them so, and I never would, but they get to that point and they realize they feel no fucking different. Because there's nothing out there that makes us feel something in here. They were just making up the story that one day I will feel different when life looks like this. But the problem is, wherever they go, they are still there. Wherever you go, there you are, with your same set of thinking and beliefs and stories and scripts and thought processes. The only way that your reality ever feels different is when you start looking at it differently, when you start seeing it through a different lens, when you start seeing the world in a slightly different way. Most of my clients say to me that my life hasn't really changed yet, it looks so different. And I love that, because we can change the way we see our world. Our relationships can change in front of our eyes. Our relationships to our wife, our husband, our money, our bank balance, our whatever it is can change. But it changes when you start seeing it differently. So in this context, I just started seeing thoughts differently. Thoughts used to be real to me. If I had the thought that my life would be better if I had a lake, that really means that really is true, and I didn't know that that wasn't true. Does that make sense? Like, I've been wrong about so many things. That when I have this car, I'll feel happy, and then I wasn't. Or when I have a business that's this size, then I'll feel X, Y, and Z. But then when I get there, I realize I've got different problems that I hadn't predicted, and I hate it. Or I don't enjoy it as much as I thought I would, or I hate it. Or I look back at my old life and go, I kind of prefer that. Like, how often have you been wrong? I've got clients that move into their dream house and now it's the biggest pain in their fucking arse because all they do is the constant upkeep and the amount of money, and they realize that actually they moved into it for the wrong reasons. They moved into it because they promised it to themselves, and now they're there, they realize it's not really that important to them, and they're like, I hate the bloody thing now. And that doesn't always happen. Of course, some people move into their dream house and they love it. Some people get the car and they love it. Some people get the millions and they love it. Some people overcome anxiety and they love it. I don't know where you are in life, but some people step out of their house for the first time in months, and they love it. I'm not saying we're always wrong, but I'm just saying that thoughts aren't as reliable as we seem to think they are. We are making this up. We're making this up. You are making it all up. Your stories around money, your stories around life, your stories around happiness, your stories around love and sex, and you're making it all up. It's all just thought created. And if you really, really see that, you can start to make up something different. Or, if nothing else, you can start to take it a little less seriously. You can start to relax a bit. You can start to enjoy life more. You can start to feel like there's no way of losing anyway, so you just play full out. It doesn't mean you become a monk unless you want to. You might. I find with my clients, they become even more successful. They do even more stuff. They start even more adventures or dream businesses, or they take more risks, or they just shuffle their life in ways that they wouldn't have done before. They might have more time off, or they might start training, or they might work harder. It depends on that person. I'm not saying there's a right way of living here, but when you start to see that the whole of life is a thought-created illusion, you see that the things that we thought could hurt us can't, and the things that we thought could harm us can't, and the things we were afraid of or anxious around, we are just making it up that way. So you can there's a real freedom. There's this liberation of, well, if I'm the one that's creating the stories and the movie, if I'm the creator of my life, then what do I really want to do? How do I really want to live? Do I want to work this much? Do I want to work more? Do I want to work less? Do I want to be more healthy? Do I not? Do I want a better relationship? Do I not? Do I really want to get this stressed over traffic? Do I really want to get this stressed over staff? Is it that my staff are idiots, or is it that actually I'm communicating to them in a way that makes them on edge around me? Is it that I hate my job, or is it that I'm having thoughts around it, or is it something else? Is it X, Y, and Z? I'm just literally just throwing shit out there because I don't know what kind of position you're in listening to this. But hopefully you're hearing something in this. To use a slightly more trivial example, because I like trivial examples. Some of my clients, they're trying to do big stuff. Some people aren't. They're just trying to life better. They want to go out without feeling like they're fat or ugly or having a panic attack or something for some people. But there's one person that comes to mind. So I'm working with, you probably got the sense that the majority of my clients are businessmen. But in amongst that, dripped throughout that, sprinkled throughout is people that aren't, people that are nurses or, in IT or other stuff, and even often the wives of the clients, or and there might be stay-at-home mums that are now starting to kind of look at, what do I want from my life now the kids are older, or what do I want? I've got a lot of respect for housewives. I don't think a lot of men really appreciate what their wives do. But that's a conversation for another day. I know that I would struggle if I had to be a housewife and the constant nagging for food and all of that stuff. So I've got a lot of respect. And then there's one person that comes to mind who, and I'm going to paraphrase, and I might mess up the story a bit because I want to just get the real point of the story, where she wanted to go out and run over the backfield, but her thoughts would create this story that she wasn't safe, that if she went over there, maybe someone's waiting in a bush to mug her or, I don't know, steal her, or I don't know what their thoughts were specifically. And she knew that they were stupid. She laughed as she said them to me, but yet, even though she knew they were stupid and she found it funny, they still looked real enough for her not to go out and exercise over in the backfield, because health is something that's important to her, or becoming important to her, or has always been important, but she's not put on the top of the list. And this is one of the things that would stop her. And she did it, I think, yesterday or something. And I said to her, does this feel like a massive achievement, or does it look like something that's just not a big deal? And then I followed up by saying there's no wrong answer here, because I didn't want her to say what she thinks she should say. Because I think in that context, we would imagine we should be saying, oh, it's a massive achievement, thank you so much. But I wanted the truth, not the bullshit that we think we should say. And she said, yeah, it doesn't really feel like a big deal. I love that. She's like, let me find out. I don't know where my phone is. But she basically said something along the lines of, yeah, I just feel like a bit of a dick, really, that I spent so long not doing it. And I'm like, that is it, though. This is so perfect. And partly what's inspired this conversation today, because if she had said, oh, it feels like a massive achievement, that would point me to, that would show me that something not something not quite right here, but there'd still be worth looking in that direction. But her to go, yeah, it doesn't really feel that big a deal. I'm like, that's bang on, because we dramatize things in our head. We make things scarier in our head than what they are in actual life. We imagine something is going to take more work or more stress than what it actually does when we just get present and engaged in life. We create so many stories that we're wrong about, and that's one example. How wrong was she? I mean, firstly, she didn't get, whisked up by aliens. Secondly, it really wasn't that big a deal. But what does this mean now? Well, it means you can do that more. You can exercise more now. That's one more thing that she can do that moves her more towards feeling healthier, happier, and doing the things she wants to do. This is just one step in the direction of, what do you want from life? Who do you want to be? How much more are you wrong about? How many other things are you wrong about that you're turning into a big deal that just aren't? And that's the point. My whole role on this planet, as you probably know, is to I expose the gaps in people's thinking. People's lives look rigid and true. This really is it. This really is the way my life looks. You really can't get the staff, or you really do need this amount of money, or if only I had this and this and this, and my life really is shit because of this, or my life looks amazing on paper, but I'm not enjoying it, and that's just the truth because of this, this, and this. People come to me with these rigid concepts of what life looks like to them, and I kind of just poke holes in it. I shine the light on the little cracks in it, because once you start to see that maybe you're wrong, maybe what you think isn't true, maybe what you've made up isn't true, maybe the sticks you're beating yourselves with aren't true. Maybe the carrots you're dangling in front of yourself aren't true. And why is this important? Because underneath all of this, we all have this innate intelligence, this common sense, this wisdom that we perform better from. When we're present to life and engaged in life, when we're out of our thinking and in our life, not only do we seem to have more time, more space, more energy, more mental space, better relationships, better health, more happiness, more contentment, because that's what most people want. They get all these things, but they just want to be happy and content and fulfilled and feel alive to life, excited and joyful. And, I lost my train of thought, but hopefully you're following it, because I've fallen off that train somewhere. My point is, underneath it all is where the magic really happens. That's where we create from. That's where we feel limitless. That's where we feel like life is this bonus level. That's where we feel like we can do whatever we want. We can create whatever we want, no matter how big or small that may look compared to whoever you're comparing yourself to, if you are. It's from that presence and that aliveness, that insightful, deeper wisdom, deeper mind, that calmer place. To me, that's where the magic happens. That's just the way it looks to me now. Anyway, that was an interesting one for me. I never script these, as you probably know. I'm alive and in the moment for these. I wouldn't be practicing what I preach if I didn't. I sit and I flow and I see what comes to the conversation. And yeah, you can probably tell I love this stuff. I give a shit about this. It's I've never felt more passionate, and I talk about this stuff every day and have done for 7-8 years. It's in fact, I've been talking about it my whole life. I just didn't really know what I was talking about for most of those years. And I'm pretty sure when I look back at this in a year's time, I'll be like, I didn't know what I was talking about. But yeah, I've had fun, and I do appreciate you being here. Again, there's so much bullshit and bollocks in this world where people bribe their listeners with Amazon vouchers, leave me a review, and I'll send you money. And that doesn't sit right with me. I don't want people to listen to this because I've bribed them with money and they leave a review even though they've never listened. That's total bullshit. I much prefer, as you probably get a sense, I much prefer the truth, the authenticity, the listen or don't listen. Listen, leave a review because you fucking enjoyed it and because it's made a difference, not because I've, slapped your ass or sent you a bloody $5 or something, So if you are listening and you have reviewed and you are sharing this with people that you feel this would be relevant to, then I truly do appreciate that, because yeah, there's not anyone that has been in this conversation whose life hasn't got better because of it. And that isn't because of me. I'm just pointing in the direction. I'm just shining the spotlight on the cracks in people's thinking, shining spotlight on their cracks. I'm just looking in the direction. I'm getting people to look in the different directions and be curious to life and notice their thinking. And all I'm really doing is waking people up to who they already are and their own potential, their own ability, their own truth of who they are, not who they think they are. I'm just really waking people up. So this isn't really about me. I'm just kind of the messenger. So when I say I appreciate you sharing it, it's because I care about every human that wakes up to this is just incredible to see. It's incredible to observe and watch and see and hear about. And I think that's the greatest gift that we can give to others. For you giving it to them in the form of sharing this or recommending it, and me giving it as a gift to you in the form of me speaking based on the way the world looks to me, based on the fact that I spend freaking God knows how many hours a week. How many hours? I don't know. I have 4 hours of conversation a day, every day, sometimes more. And it's fascinating, Anyway, that's me done. I appreciate you being here. I'll speak to you soon. Have a good one, and I'll try not to leave it as long between this and the next one. So, speak to you soon.